Damn it. Alright, here we go. What I plan on trying to make this stream really quickly is I plan on trying to make it like a talk and crap, but no one's in a stream, I guess, so, yeah. But I plan on trying to make this at least a talk stream or something like that. Well, pray to God Battlefield does something right this time kind of stream. Either one, I really don't mind doing. Let's be honest. Yeah. Alright. Get my phone set up onto the stream. Check. And I mentioned before I don't like the idea of doing booth views or adding bots into the stream or any kind of thing like that. So once you get my thing in there, then yeah. Because I don't really like the idea of that. It's just stupid. The idea of using bots to boost your income revenue that you literally just paid about $100,000 just to get a damn bot. The idea of that's kind of stupid, but yeah. Alright. So again, I guess I'm going to repeat myself, but screw it. Well, I guess not. I thought someone else joined, but yeah. So now, there we go. Alright, I'm gonna get checked in the chat, make sure this is working properly. It should be working properly. This is planned to be a talk stream. So 1 2 1 2. Okay, unfortunately that doesn't work, so that's fine. Kinda wish that did work though, but it doesn't matter that much. Alright, time to get district crap started, even though I kinda can't really do much of it, but you know what, let's get Coon Mountain started, because why the hell not? Ooh, that's actually kind of great flat land. Oh god. Okay, I already see what I'm going to have to do then. Yeah, that audio was getting screwed up and crap. And make sure all the comments and stuff are working. Yeah, they don't work properly, damn it. But I'm going to try to fix my YouTube emblem because I might as well. When the hell did I make that one? Okay, well, I guess eventually I gotta get something to my PlayStation thing. Well, I guess I gotta fix a lot of things on my YouTube stuff. A lot. Alright, let me get myself connected back to YouTube. Alright, well, let's get actually properly talking now, because I know I haven't talked much, but that's mostly because I want to make sure everything's working right. But let's get to actually properly talking on what I really hope comes to the next Battlefield game. But again, let's be honest, this isn't likely going to happen, so what I'm saying is not going to happen. It does not mean it's guaranteed. I am not saying this. What I'm saying, God damn it, how did I do it? What I'm saying does not mean it's actually going to happen, but it does mean it is a possibility. So, don't take what I am saying as literal, as it's going to happen. Do not take it that way. So, what I'm saying is what I want it to be for the next Battlefield game. It does not mean anything of what I'm saying is actually going to happen or anything like that. So, but I kind of hope that's what happens for the next Battlefield game. And let's be honest, we all kind of want this, and not only that, we all kind of want vehicles and speculation, so, yeah. But, let's take into account that the next Battlefield game is not going to be overly futuristic, or anything over 2015, probably, because, let's be honest, 2015 was probably the best time of the 20th century, let's be honest, and 2020 is kind of literally what's the word I'm looking for? Great Depression of 2020. Well, no, the 20th century. There we go. But, yeah, let's kind of be honest. That's kind of our Great Depression of the century. So, yeah. But, on to what I'm going to want to say and what I kind of want to get off my chest anyways. And let's first just talk why have I not uploaded that much, and why have I not been on YouTube as much. I've been watching more or less lots of YouTube videos and so on and so forth, and let's be honest, that's what we all sort of been doing, is just watching YouTube videos, so we're not as damn bored in this terrible 2020, so. But on to what everybody wants to actually hear is speculation for Battlefield 6, or whatever you want to call the next Battlefield, but let's be honest, it's likely going to be Battlefield 6. Or something along those lines. But, on to what the actual chat's going to be. Let's put into speculation the vehicles, and what the vehicles will be. The vehicles, let's be honest, if we're going to have it set around 2015, and I know that was prime time for the MRAP starting of culture into the 20th century, but let's be honest, the MRAP's not going to work properly, and we all know no one wants the MRAP, so yeah. But Humvee is what we're gonna start out with. Coalition / USA / US Marines. So let's go into vehicles. We would like the Humvee, guaranteed. This is without a doubt. Now, weaponry and upgrades and so on and so forth for the Humvee is, let's be honest, let's start out with no weapons for the Humvee first. This will make it really light, really maneuverable, but obviously you ain't got a gun, so you can't really protect yourself. So on and so forth. That's your main downside. You ain't got a gun. But the guns that you can add to it are as such: 50 cal, a M240 Bravo, and a minigun. The minigun is the heaviest. The M2 is the second heaviest, and the M240 Bravo is your lightest. But let's get into calibers of each of these. M240 Bravo. This is using the standard 7.62 cartridge, not too heavy, not too light. And this is the easiest cartridge that would make sense. It's a simple, good old-fashioned 7.62. Decent penetration, not super high, but not super low. Alright? So this is able to damage light vehicles and a tad bit of choppers. The minigun, same exact round, 7.62, actually maybe 5.56, 7.62 or 5.56. So it could be the weakest, or it could actually, yeah, it probably would be the weakest, but is not as strong against choppers. Well, it probably would. It depends on the caliber. If it's 7.62, it's probably directly better, but it's weighs heavier and it's going to go through ammo faster. The M2 Browning, or the M2 Medusa. This obviously is the strongest cartridge. It can lay any vehicle to shreds, even tanks, with enough firepower. It has the potential of doing lots of damage and being a pestilence to choppers. So yeah. And by the way, whoever just recently joined the stream, good for you. See it as the Battlefield 6 what we want it to be. And never mind. Damn my life. But yeah. But let's get into other things that you could add to the vehicle. So obviously I just mentioned off guns, and now let's get to secondary improvements or other addables or attachments, you could say. So we're just going to call them attachments. A ammo upgrade, and let's get to the variants of what the vehicle could have. Standard flat back, a troop back, a square back, a medivac version, and all of that. Decals will be medical insignia, freaking Punisher, skull and crossbones, all of that. And yeah, then let's get into what else we could have for it. But let's get into the seating. Standard normal version without any seats, well, without any gun, is 4. And with the gun, you got 5. So obviously adding the gun is more of an improvement against troops having multiple people in you, so inside the vehicle. So it might not actually be a bad idea to all around add the gun. You'd probably see it as a direct upgrade, and I wouldn't really blame you. Obviously it decreases speed, so if you're trying to get over to an outpost or objective, might not be exactly your best option. You might want to be fast and maneuverable. But with all these guns, ammo. I think we should probably go with the Battlefield 5 ammo system for vehicles, where you have to go to points of resupply to get your ammo back, including for light vehicles such as these. Again, caliber, well, let's get into what other attachments, especially for how much ammo consumption you are using. A ammo improvement, if you are using, this is required for the square back to add even more ammo to the vehicle. The square back can also give chance of, well, resupplying teammates and as such, so either you might want to turn the square back into a supply version, or maybe not. It's up to the player's choice again. So, yes. Then you could add a radio to this vehicle. And what would this exactly do? This requires the vehicle not to have a gun, though. That's the first downside. There's no gun, and you cannot add any kind of ammo improvements to the gun, so there's your downside. But the upside is, and this is a pretty big upside, as long as your squad leader can use it properly, you have increased range to use call-ins, and not only that, you have stronger call-ins. So essentially, per se, you're calling it an arty strike. The arty strike will last longer. I know that kind of doesn't make a lot of sense, but it kind of gives reasons to have squad leaders properly be carrying proper Humvees. So, and let's get into squad sizes, because I know that's kind of been a hot topic in debate between players and stuff. So, let's get into squad sizes. Instead of the standard 4 from Battlefield 3, or the 5 from 4, this time I think it should be 8 to 6. 8 or 6, something along those lines. Maybe even 10 or 12. If not 9. So somewhere in that range should be the actual squad sizes. I know this seems kind of large, and I know squad ear rape is a lot of possibilities, but the actual game size could be 150 v 150, so upwards of 300 into a match. So this isn't actually exactly a bad idea for squad sizes. You got more than enough squads to combat this kind of stuff. So yeah, and obviously standard squad names as such. I just got the hiccups, great, and all of that. And let's get into squad call-ins with all this squad mentioning. So the squad call-ins will be dependent upon your faction, but this will roughly be able to square up what all we will have for call-ins. The call-ins will be a rocket artillery strike, a arty strike, or a mortar barrage. It's dependent on what faction you are. Then you have airstrikes such as Hellfire rockets, bombs, and gun runs. The Hellfire and gun runs are dependent on your faction also. So, not only that, then now let's get into the next vehicles. Your heavy transports. These are 6x6 big rigs and stuff. But we better get into that in a few minutes. Let's get into all the factions. And this could create a hot topic in debate amongst the community about the way I'm going to mention this, but I kind of think that I ought to mention all the factions that we have, and we'll get into the campaign probably after the 20-minute mark. But U.S. forces / U.S. Marines or coalition, the Mujahideen, I can't pronounce them correctly, I'm sorry, the Taliban, Russians, and in a few more updates I'll mention what else, but that's essentially roughly it. The U.S. forces and Mujahideen, these will be on the exact same maps. If you are wondering what kind of area this would be set in, this is set in Afghanistan. And I'll get into what some DLCs could be, and I think a lot of players would kind of like these DLCs. But yeah, so again, I'll get into all the faction call-ins a bit later on, and I'll mention them all and probably repeat it. But let's get into the Yamad and Taliban, what their vehicles are, and we'll get into the Russians. But the Russians, I don't really know how exactly to do them because they're a bit harder. But for the transport vehicles, for the, I guess you could say, insurgents, I'm just going to call them that, are the pickup truck, the Toyota in particular, and the simple, I guess we're going to call it the Jamaican bus, as the van. You know exactly which one I'm talking about. So yeah. But the way that these will work, let's get into the pickup truck, because this is the most similar to the Humvee, yet kind of the least similar. This is very similar to the Humvee pickup variant, which will have the open back, but a bit more different. This has upwards of 6 seats, which is the same as the Humvee variant pickup truck, which you can add ammo and stuff into the back and all that, but you might want to use it more for troops, which could fit 6 people. The reason for this is, well, it's a pickup truck. You have an open back. You can fit 2 people in the back, and if you wanted to, you can put the gun on top. But this is different in a few more aspects. And the pickup trucks, well, inside the... I'm just going to quickly say, get all the rest done for Toyota. It will fit up to 6 people without the gun, but with the gun, it'll fit 5. The reason for this is because this gun would be taking up about 2 seats total. And why do I say this, even though this wouldn't make much sense to most of the community? Well, let's be honest, this would have to be a full 360 or a full forward one. There's 2 types I'm going to mention off, and these will be dependent on what the player's choice is. The PKM machine gun and the Dishka. The PKM, and this will actually bring a bit more variety in what the player will choose over just what the Humvee had, because for the Humvee you had 2 very clear, straight choices on what you kind of want. And let's be honest, if you're going to use a Humvee, you're going to want to have a gun, and you want to have 2 really good guns. So the M240 Bravo would probably have been off the list for nearly every single player. But for this one, this kind of leaves it a bit more questionable on what do I want to use. So, for the Insurgents, the pickup truck with the 360-degree turret, you have the PKM machine gun. 7.62 Russian Soviet caliber, as we all know. That beautiful, good old-fashioned caliber. And the AK-47. Both these, you kind of have one more open and shut case, but it's the RPD AK-47, so it's not exactly a bad choice. And here's the actual difference between the two, because the AK-47 variant kind of seems completely worse in every single choice, and you probably should not choose it because of that. But you would be having HE 7.62 rounds, so yeah, not exactly a bad choice for anti-aircraft use, does it? Then let's get to the forward machine gun. This one would be using, this is the Dishka. This is your only forward machine gun. Obviously you can only aim forward, so it's your first problem. This could create some problems for the player, and this could be a bit more difficult for him. This would, well, obviously he can't aim that far up, he can't aim that much to his sides. He is screwed. He has to shoot forward. So, as simple as that. But, again, it's a Dishka. This thing could light any kind of vehicle to shreds. The reason why do I mention the Dishka when then you should just be using the PKM or AK-47? Well, kind of a hard choice because of this. The Dishka would have potential to be able to shoot through Humvee's well, bulletproof glass, because obviously a Humvee's going to have bulletproof glass, so because of that strong caliber, it would be able to destroy the glass and kind of force the Humvee out. So because of this, it's actually kind of really hard choices for the player. So, on one hand, you have a good 360-degree anti-infantry machine gun turret. On the other hand, you got a good anti-air 360-degree turret. And on the other hand, you got a good anti-vehicle machine gun turret. So, because of this, you got some really decent and interchangeable choices. But let's get into the seats. The 360-degree turret, both of them, are going to force a 5-man into the squad. 5 people total. All of these have ammo upgrades that would decrease the seating down to 4, creating it more like the standard transport Humvee, but technically a bit more different. So because of this, you kind of have a bit more of a variety. So players might actually properly want to choose what you are all using, depending on your squad size. And obviously a 6-man squad is kind of hard to fit into a vehicle, into a 8-man vehicle, but it's definitely possible. And because of this, the players might want to choose wisely on what kind of setup they're using. Now, obviously, because of this, this would not leave 2 other variants out of the picture. You would have these exact variants, as I'm about to mention. You would have a full radio variant, acting a lot like a Humvee, but a bit more different. And then you would have a full restock and resupply variant, which would be acting as a good ammo bearing variant. So, per se, you're doing an attack on an outpost, but has a lot of enemies in it. You might want to bring a Dishka or a 360 PKM machine gun. And I probably didn't mention this, but the PKM and Dishka, well, you can add a upgrade into the vehicle's armor. This will not increase the vehicle's health altogether. But what this will do is increase the strength of how hard it is to shoot the gunners. So because of this, you have a little bit more potential. What I am saying is the gunners will have a decent enough thick armor to the point where for the Dishka, you can't really shoot the gunner that easily, so it kind of turns it into the half-track in Battlefield 5. Not only that, it adds the driver a bit of armor and so on and so forth. You got the driver some armor and you got the gunner some armor. Perfect choice over possibly the ammo, but I didn't forget to mention, I did forget to mention, is this obviously is taking a equipment slot. Which, again, that equipment slot could be used for something as, again, the ammo or something else. I can't think of what you could also use right now, but something else. So, that little equipment slot, probably that could be used for an upgraded engine or something like that. Kind of is then being used for armor. This adds a armor for the co-driver, driver, and gunner. Nobody else in the back has any protection, so, yeah. Then, let's now get into the van, or the Jamaican school bus, as I'm going to call it. So, the Jamaican school bus, what this will use is, well, for the guns, I'll get into that in a little bit more of a few seconds. But this has potential for 2 guns. The seating is a starting 5 to 7. So, yeah, obviously you can get the idea of this one. You have the choice to add a radio. This will decrease the seating down to 5 to 3. So because of this, it might not be a bad idea to actually bring this alongside your attack against maybe in a FOB or a FOB. I literally just said both of the exact same thing. Ignore what I just said, but because of this, it might not be a bad idea. So because of it, obviously, you got a bit more potential in your attack, and it might not be a bad idea to bring a van alongside of it. Obviously, the ammo and the thing and the radio are decreasing your troop size inside of it for ammo and, again, obviously the other crap. But the base van, here's exactly your seating, is 6 to 7. You got 2 guys in the back, or 4. 1 guy to the side, and a driver and a co-driver. Now, you got potential to add upwards to 3 to maybe 4 guns. Why do I say this? Well, you got a side door gunner. You can add a Dishka, PKM, or AK-47 anti-aircraft version. All of the above is not actually a bad choice, because your chances of a chopper trying to kill you from its side are not exactly unlikely. I think we all know this in all the Battlefield games. So, actually adding a AK-47 HE ammo is not a bad idea. And the side door gunner has the chance to close and open up the door. So this is not exactly a bad idea at all. Now, the Dishka and PKM. The Dishka might be a good choice for either the rear or the front. It's dependent on your playstyle. I cannot choose this for you, obviously. So, but insider or potential, we're going to use the Dishka in the back and the PKM in the front. Also, I did mention a 4th, but this could possibly be replaced by all the above. But this 4th would be a top-mounted co-driver machine gun. This would be acting kind of like the one inside of Battlefield 3. If you've played Battlefield 3, you know kind of what the model of the van I'm talking about and kind of what I am exactly saying during all of this. So, yeah. If you have seen the Aftermath DLC, you'll understand the vehicle I am talking about. but that was used for the driver, not the co-driver, so I think a lot of people might not understand exactly what I'm saying here, though. But yeah. But the way I am thinking of this one is it's completely co-driver, but you cannot add any armor to the vehicle for the driver and co-driver, so both of which have an easy potential to get shot out. So, but you have potential to add armor to the vehicle. This will add armor to the entirety of the vehicle. This will increase the vehicle's HP and so on and so forth. What I mean by this is essentially what I'm exactly saying is essentially the vehicle's HP and protection against the drivers, co-drivers, and passengers all have protection. So this will add guns, or not guns, but this will add usability, a bit more protection for the gunners. But the adding the guns decreases the troop size altogether in the vehicle. So adding the side door gunner decreases the troop size down to 6, and adding a rear machine gun decreases the troop size down to 5. So you might just want a side door machine gun over the rear machine gun. That would decrease your troop size by 2. Because your players need to have a lot more movement to move this machine gun that's in the back. The back door machine gun cannot have the doors closed at all. So yeah. So you might just want to add the side door machine gun, which either can be the Dishka, the whatever you want it to be. So that's all up to player preference and choice. I cannot choose any of these for you over your, again, personal preference. Do you want a fast vehicle or do you want a heavy and very devastating vehicle? It is completely up to player choice. So yeah, again, the way that I mention all this is potential for the player's choice. All of it is player's choice. Alright, so this leaves lots and lots of variety for what the player may choose, so I can't really stop the player's choice at all. You see where we're going with that? So yeah. But let's get into a few more recognizable things in all of the Battlefield games. The campaign, or the style of the campaign, or the way it's done. This one, well actually wait. Let's get into the next vehicles, or the heavy transports, as I had laid off originally. So, the way the heavy transports will work, and this is a good simple idea of how they should and how they will work. How they'll work is simply, well, you can have upwards to 16 people inside the vehicle. Well, not 16, well, 14. So essentially that is driver, co-driver, and the co-driver can act as the gunner for this vehicle. You can add Dishkas and all that. M2s is the equivalent for the Dishka. The PKM's equivalent is the M240 Bravo, and obviously the AK-47's variant is the minigun. But both of these kind of seem a bit redundant because they seem like very different versions to each other. But trust me, they're fairly similar. As in the aspect of them damaging choppers and stuff, but they're not much more different in much other aspects. But I did not actually mention clip size because all gunners need to be able to reload. For all these guns, I'm going to mention off the clip size. For the AK-47, its clip size is 75. This might seem pretty small, and it is the smallest of all of them, but this is using a drum mag. 75, 80, or 90 is the clip size, and this is the smallest of them all. For the M240 Bravo, this is 100. For the M2 Brown, or for the M2, it is 100. For the Dishka, this is 100 or 200, depending on your upgrades to the vehicle. Actually, no, it's just 100. So all these have 100 ammo or clip size, but the M2 Dishka have the slowest fire rates of all of them, but have the highest damage to vehicles. Both these can rip vehicles to shreds, simple as that. Minigun, this is actually a fairly small clip size, but this is why if you're firing it, it's going to be just all the ammo is going to be gone in seconds. So the clip size for this, not 500, not 1,000, not 300, but 200. Reason I say this, you got a short burst of ammo that is short-lived, and once it is done, well, you better pray to God that you're not just firing this thing in infantry, because each of these vehicles without the ammo upgrade has upwards to 4 to 3 magazines, except for the AK. All of them have 4 to 3. The Dishkas have 3. The PKM and well, the M2 Dishka, M2 and Dishka, those two have again 3 magazines. The rest have 4. The minigun, on the other hand, will have 5, and the AK, on the other hand, will have 6 to 7. Obviously, it is easier to have more drums, and obviously, the minigun will have about 6 short bursts of ammo. So, because of all this short-livedness of the vehicles, obviously, you could assume how fast these are going to fly through. So yeah, pretty sure we all know how fast ammo can go through now. So yeah, you better just hope that all of your ammo is not being blasted through in seconds by a horrible gunner. Or by a person that just wants to fire the gun, which I kind of know that feeling to a religious level. I'm pretty sure we all do, actually, for a matter of fact. So because of this, you don't want to have a gunner that's just firing off your dish gun into, like, why is this ammo on my side? Oh, do I have a limited amount? Sorry. Even though after your fights and you're currently running away from a enemy vehicle and your M2 or your M240 Bravo's all out of ammo because you decided to fire it on the way there, now you're kind of screwed and going to die. And keep in mind, this number of magazines is very short, even by video game standards, such as Squad even considers helicopter magazines for their M240 Bravos and PKMs as this is very short, is they would typically use 6 to 7, because obviously you can't have too many to the point where you're not going to go resupply, but you also want to have enough to make sure that you have good machine gun runs and stuff. So, because of this, yes, this is fairly short, and this will create lots of back and forth between bases. And why do I want back and forthness? Because a lot of people consider this repetitive, and they're not wrong. Why do I consider the factor of them going back and forth? It's because this time, soldiers do not have parachutes, and they cannot just jump out of choppers all willy-nilly this time. So because of this, this brings a little bit more restriction into what the player will be doing with all of his fun. And he actually will have to wait for the chopper to land. If he does not listen if the chopper will not land, the players can actually make a vote inside the chopper to force him to go to an objective. If he does not go to this objective or does not decide to listen, well, he will be kicked. He'll be kicked out of the chopper by the player's choice, because he's not listening to command. And commander can choose to kick the chopper out of the server. Well, not commander, admin, and even the players. If everybody has a vote kick onto the player or has enough vote kicking, this player will be kicked out of the server by will. So yeah, there's a lot more reason that the chopper must land. So yes. This will bring a bit more, I guess you could say, forçation and taxation to the chopper pilots if they are not listening to their passengers. So yeah. And because of this, you actually are going to want them to properly listen. So yeah. And on to the next kind of stuff, which I'm pretty sure lots of players want to hear. The armored vehicles. The vehicles that are the IFVs and MBTs, and these are the 2 armored vehicles I will be mentioning. There will be another variant I will be mentioning, which is the amphibious armored vehicles. I'll get to those a bit later. The vehicles that I will be mentioning are as follows. The M2 Bradley, the BPM, or no, yeah, BPM, or no, BMP, there we go, and, or actually, yeah, the BP, or yeah, BMP2, or yeah, the BMP2 and the M2 Bradley are the counterparts. Even for the Russians, the BMP2 is still efficient to this day as an infantry fighting vehicle. So do not consider this obsolete whatsoever, because it is not. So, because of this, the anti-tank capabilities are very high. So, even MBTs have to watch their backs about these vehicles. NBTs, you may ask. What are the NBTs that I will be following? These are the T-82C. This has reflected, or has shaped armor. Well, not shaped armor. What's the word I'm looking for? Can't think of it. What's the word? Damn it, can't think of it. Spaced armor, there we go. And if you ever looked at the T-82, its armor is fairly thick with that spaced armor, so it will be able to take an M1 Abrams shell or two. And because of this, don't get me wrong, it's going to be covered in this, but this is faster than the M1 Abrams. And not only that, the spaced armor is not covering the entire tank. It is covering the front, a little bit of the sides, the turret, and a bit else. You can add a bit more reductive armor, which can increase your amount of protection among the vehicle. So because of this, you might want to add a bit more covering to the vehicle. So it's not exactly a bad armor or idea. But the M1 Abrams does not have this option. The BMP2 and Bradley both have these options to add reductive armor. The M1 Abrams does not, so you might want to keep this in mind to your Abrams, that if you are complaining about not having any of this kind of stuff, like reductive or reactive armor, bit too bad, because, well, you're an MBT. You can kill nearly anything. And the actual Abrams is the M1A1 Abrams. Well, I think because we all want to actually be able to shoot the gunners out and have a bit more potential at shooting the gunners and having a bit more help. This has went really wrong really fast. God almighty. You are kidding me, right? There we go. I actually am going to have to add about... No, I'm not adding... No. I already just took up one space. I don't need to take up two. Man, you are kidding me. These farming industries take up space so fast. Hurry up! Go take care of those freaking fires by this point. Like, seriously. Alright. Now, on to the guns for these vehicles. Actually, I think we all know as the guns as followed. Except for the Russians. The Russians do not have these possibilities. I'll get to the Russian vehicles because they are a bit more harder off to mention. On to the choppers. Well, actually, no, I did not even mention the seatings for these vehicles, actually, for a matter of fact. Alright, for the BMP2 and Bradley 2, or no, yeah, the Bradley M2, no, M1, not 2. For the BMP2, this will have, actually, wait, weaponry. First, let's mention what's the weaponry for both of these. The Bradley has an autocannon, and same for the BMP2. These are, well, same exact caliber, but not exactly, I don't believe that they're the same exact caliber IRL. But these will have rockets that they can fire off. They both only have one that they can fire off at a time. but the recharge time will be 10 to 15 seconds, if not more. Because, well, these can actually one-shot MBTs and any other vehicle in the game, for that fact. Actually, no, it takes 2 of these to destroy an MBT, but you have to remember they only have 2 of these that they start out with, and they have to resupply constantly to get these things back. Constantly. These will take 2 resupplies just to get 1 of these. So, yeah, it won't be easy to get your resupplies in for these vehicles. So, yeah. Just pray to God that you actually have a proper tanker, you could say. Well, proper anti-tank BMP and Sherman. Or Abrams, not Sherman. But let's get into, yeah, is that it? Yes, that should be it. Except for seatings. Let's get into seatings for all the above of these vehicles. The seating is upwards to 8, alright? And this is with the upgrades for the top guns. This will take up reactive armor and stuff. So, you either might want reactive armor or guns, and your guns are choosable between all of the ones I've already mentioned. So again, all of the above of these guns have very capable anti-air capabilities, so yeah. The Dishka and M2 have a bit more anti-vehicle, and the PKM and M240 Bravo have a lot more anti-air, well, not anti-air, what's the word I'm looking for? Can't think of the word I'm looking for. Can't think of it. What's the word I'm looking for? By the way, if you were wondering where the actual stream properly started, it was 10 minutes. So, and most of this is just a rant. Again, I'm going to mention it off one more time. This is just a rant for Battlefield 6 of what we actually properly want. And I still have not mentioned the time period that we kind of want this to be. 2015 to 18, or no, to 1950 or so, which I'll mention off DLCs a bit later. But let's get into the choppers now. The choppers that we would like and want are the Mi-8 for the transport for Russian, Taliban, and Mahdi insurgents. I'm not even going to try to pronounce them. Again, I'll get into all the factions and how they're going to be laid out a bit later. The Mi-8 and Black Hawk are the 2 variants. Your guns are as follows for the insurgents, and I guess the Russians could be followed, but I don't really think this would work out as much for the Russians, let's be honest. Or, again, the PKM, Dishka, and AK-47 with the drum mag and, well, freaking, what's the word I'm looking for? HEA rounds. And again, for the US, you got the M240 Bravo, M2 Browning, and the minigun. But again, I already mentioned the minigun only has 200 rounds, so you got one quick short burst to shoot down that chopper. So I don't think minigun's exactly a good choice for these choppers. You might actually want to go with the M2 or M240 Bravo because, well, you got a lot more time to shoot at your target, so you better be accurate with these guns. All the above of these guns, for a matter of fact. So even the disc gun included, but you know, I already mentioned off the counterparts. So now let's get into what choppers we want for the attack choppers. Because I know everybody wants their beautiful little choppers back, even though not everybody likes the attack choppers. We all prefer the transport choppers and sometimes the little birds, depending on the fucking flyer of those damn little pesky little birds. But yeah, on to the choppers for the attack ones. The Apache Longbow for the US and the Hind. Well, the autocannons and all of that, the Gatling guns and stuff are your guns for the for these. Obviously, Gatling guns for the attack for the Hind, and then autocannon for the Apache. rocket pods or Hellfire rockets, you can only choose one of these, and whatever one you choose is, well, so on and so forth. So, because of that, all these are not exactly bad choices. So, yeah. But, again, they are not horrible ideas because of it. So, yeah. Hi, James. If you actually want to hear this proper rant from the start of what we want for Battlefield 6, go to the 10-minute marker, and you can hear all of it, my rant from start. So, yeah. But now on to the last chopper, and this is the only chopper that the Americans have one-sided, kind of as the Jamaican school bus for the Taliban and Mujahideen. So because of that, the Little Bird is the only chopper for the U.S. They have one singular weapon type, or two weapon types that they can add, and that's it. They have a minigun that, this one has 1,000 rounds compared to the 200 I mentioned for the Humvees and choppers, because that's short burst of ammo, but 1,000 rounds is not actually a hard choice. This puts it less into an anti-air to more of an anti-infantry role because of it. Well, I actually would say maybe that minigun should only have 200 or 500 rounds. This actually kind of puts it more into an anti-air role, but it only has one of those magazines, not two, like the other choppers, so. Or Hellfire rockets, and that's all you got. Once that's done, you have to go back to base, resupply, and get another 4 rockets, and that's one and done, so. The troop carrying size is 6. You got 1 driver, co-pilot, and, actually no, just 5. Co-pilot is included as AI, so you got a second life to get shot out, but let's be honest, it's kind of not going to happen. So you got 4 people total that can be on your sides, and that's it. That's all you got, so this can be put into a slight transport role, but not really. But the actual purpose and role of this is for recon, so the primary ability and main ability for this vehicle is, as it flies over targets, it will spot them below, and it will act more as a reconnaissance role. It will spot whatever it goes over. Unless, obviously, that item is meant to be like that, and not be spotted automatically and easily. But, on to, what am I missing? Into the call-ins, and I'm pretty sure everybody kind of wants these back, but they want to a limited and very certain amounts. But Commander, let's get into what all he can have, and I'll mention what all the kits should actually be, because instead of the standard 4, I'm thinking something else. But the call-ins for the Insurgents / Taliban, all of them, the standard call-ins will be mortar or 150 howitzer mortars, and again, these act as the artillery strikes for the Americans, Russian, and that's all. So because of that, these are a lot less. They have a longer duration, but do a little bit less, and it's not much more of a duration. So, yeah. And they also, for their airstrikes, they have rocket rocket barrage and bombing runs, and that's what they have for their airstrikes. They also have, again, rocket barrages that they can call in, which are longer lasting and do less damage and are less accurate. So yeah. And again, let's get into what the U.S. has. They have an A-10 gun run call-in, rocket barrage, artillery barrages, bombing runs, and yes, that's all they really have for those already kind of strikes and stuff, or those anti-infantry capabilities and stuff. But for support call-ins, because I think these either should be put into 2 categories or just one. For support call-ins, they can have markers for, they can tag markers for the entire team to be able to see. They can have infantry likeliness markers. All of these will cost 50. So infantry around this area marker, landing point marker for team to go or enemy, depending on depending on which one they choose. A gun run calling for teammate air assets to do. and reinforcement ones, and then they have actual, then they have proper, then their other one, these will be put into 3 RDs, or no, RDs, yeah, RD strikes, infant, or supports, and then reinforcements. The reinforcement ones, here's what we have. We have AI infantry call-ins. These are how this are going to work. You have a airborne one, and then you have exactly 3 types. But you can actually choose on what vehicles they're using. So if you ask for a convoy infantry help, this will bring in a full gunned vehicle convoy, but this is easier to see and a lot more likely to get airstrikes, let's be honest. Singular big rig, this still has potential of getting airstrikes. It has 1 singular gun and it's dropping off about 12 troops or so. Then you also have a airborne one. This will call in a chopper, or the other one is a proper actual freaking airborne, like 75th Rangers airborne, sort of, if you know what I'm going with that. The chopper one, this will call in 2 choppers, and depending on your landing zone that you are choosing, or the nearest one, this will bring in about 12 troops total. So yeah, all of them will bring in about a total of 12 troops. It's just dependent on how you use them. So yeah, hope you like all those call-ins. Hopefully, I don't think you're going to agree with everything I've currently mentioned, but hopefully you would like all this. And yeah, I can't really say much else for it, but yes. Now let's get into the last ones. For the Russians, because I know I've not mentioned them often, I've been saving them for later. So, their vehicles are, again, I already mentioned off the MBTs, helicopters, all of them, but their transport vehicles are different. And I have not mentioned off the actual heavy transports for the Taliban and stuff. They will be using the Ural, as we all know. Or no, I think you know what I'm trying to say. But yeah. They will obviously be using that one truck, as we all know it. Then the other vehicle, or the vehicles, they will be using a Russian gas as their vehicles. But these are improved gases. They have actual bulletproof gas, so, or glass and stuff, so it actually might not be a bad idea to bring RPGs to kill these things. You might actually want to. They also will be bringing to the table a Havoc attack chopper alongside their Hind, depending on what they are deciding to do. They will also be potentially bringing to the table, now I forget it, their call-ins are rocket barrages, artillery barrages, or no, freaking Hellfire barrages, rocket barrages, artillery barrages, and bombing runs. Those are their call-ins and stuff. And also, what am I missing? What am I fucking missing? I'm missing something here. What am I actually properly missing? Can't think of it. Yes, there we go. Now for the kits. And this time, there is actually going to be a total of technically 7, instead of what Battlefield 5 and all of them have done as standard 4. And the reason I say this is because I'd like it to have a bit more realistic theme, but I do not want it to be overly realistic. I know a lot of players inside Battlefield like to be casual. So, servers, I would like all the custom server settings. I would like crossplay, but I want to choose between PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and even VR, if they could do that, even for multiplayer, because all of them could have the differences, except for PlayStation and Xbox. They're fairly similar. They're close enough. But yes. But for what I would like potential for servers to actually properly have, and I think everybody would like it, is again the crossplay aspect and the factor of actually being able to have the rating system where players can actually get to tell the community, and this could even pop up in the main menu for actual admin servers that are great, that do not have abusive admins or stuff like that. So this is not actually a proper bad idea and stuff. So I think this could be a lot in potential. So yeah. But into damn it, what am I missing? Into the kits. I suggest, and I'll get to the commander. Well, there's the commander, which has very similar same abilities to what he has in Battlefield 4, but a bit more extra stuff, and works very similar. Now, for the other 6, the standard assault that we've always had, a medic, support, recon, and a pilot, and a tanker. Why do I mention pilot and tanker as 2 entirely new ones instead of same old, same old? Well, that's because we need a engineer basis class for both of these. So pilot will be a bit more different. Tanker is essentially your engineer, your proper engineer, as you would be able to repair vehicles a lot better and all of that. Then your pilot, he doesn't have the potential to heal, but he actually properly would have a parachute compared to everybody else that wouldn't have parachutes. So because of this, you have your pilots, your tankers, assault, medic, support, and then you got your recon. The pilots and tankers, the tankers would actually have such things as grease guns and SMGs of that sort. But then such things as medic and assault will be using things like assault rifles and stuff, and then things like support would be using LMGs, and yeah. Then recon would be using, again, his same old sniper rifles, but allow him to use DMRs or freaking 8x scopes and crap, obviously. Kind of stupid that he doesn't have that allowed, but still. Then, but I would suggest this as scenarios, or such things that we could allow. Shotguns are allowed for every single kit, but but whatever kit they are, they're allowed certain shotguns. But let's take an example. I already mentioned how the squad's set up, so we're going to do the 6-man squad setup. But this, keep in mind, we're not including pilots and stuff and tankers into this. We're doing the same old normal what you would see in typical battlefields. 1 medic, 1 support, and let's do 4 assaults, because this is an attack squad, not a defense squad. So because of this, 1 assault will have a shotgun, 2 of them will have shotguns, 3 of them will have assault rifles. The medic will be using the assault rifles. The support will be using his, we're going to go with the US squad setup, so M240 Bravo. And then, what am I missing here? Oh yeah, damn it, I kind of screwed this up. Didn't I? No. So, again, 2 assaults are using shotguns, 2 are using assault rifles, medics are using assault rifles, then support is using LMGs. Or his typical LMGs and stuff. That would be his layout for the attack, and that would work out. But what the assault shotguns are the standard. These are the semi-automatic shotguns. But then medic is allowed pump actions, and support is support is allowed all of the above of these shotguns. Recon is not allowed a shotgun because, well, he's recon. But then such kits as the tankers are allowed a particular type of shotgun, like short shotguns or small lever actions. These are stub-nosed shotguns that they're allowed to use. And because of this, they're allowed any type. So because of this leaves a lot more potential. But obviously for the Taliban, they have a lot more variety of their shotguns compared to the U.S. that have like the M10, 870, and then Mossbergs and stuff, and yeah. So the U.S. don't have as big as a variety compared to the Russians that have quite a few. and the Taliban are nearly allowed to use any kind of gun that they want, let's be honest. So, because of this, there's a lot more variety. So, the way I kind of am saying this is essentially allow them to use certain guns but not be overpowered with their guns. So, what I'm saying is allow the M416, or yeah, the M3, no, not M4, the M4A316, no, the M4A3 come back into the game for like assault and medic, but then not allow it for recon and stuff. So, but then allow the M4 to still be for all the kits and all of that, so we can actually have proper assault recons and all of that. So, if that doesn't make sense, I'm kind of sorry, because I can not seem like much sense. I'm kind of sorry about that, because a lot of the time I don't seem to give everybody that much sense. So yeah, the way I tried to put this is, it's fairly complicated, but at the same time I kind of hope this appeals to everybody, because I think everybody wants this. But again, I mentioned at the start, at the 10-minute mark and stuff, that none of this is actually going to happen at all. So this does not mean that this is at all going to happen, but it does not mean it's not possible. So what I'm saying is, this is possible speculation, but don't take it with a freaking grain of salt, obviously. Don't take all this as actually going to happen. Take this as potential, and we all want this to happen. We all do. Trust me. But the way I'm mentioning it is more of my style of way of playing, but it might not be everybody else's way of playing. Because they've already done this to Battlefield 5. That's the thing. We've not realized it, though. That's the ironic part. They've already done this to Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1. Because here's the thing. In Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5, they added the tanker and pilot kit. We just never realized it. We never took it into account. So, what I am saying here is already being done inside game. We just need it to properly happen. So what I am saying is, the commander is to come back to these video games, but to be more improved, not be as he was, is what I'm saying. So, yeah, this has already happened in all the Battlefield games. It's just, we need this to be widespread happened, is what I'm saying. If that doesn't make sense, I am sorry, and it doesn't have to make sense. It's just, we all want this to be properly happening and stuff. It's just, we need this to become proper and stuff, so, yeah. So I'm sorry if I'm not making much sense. And that's understandable, because I'm not always going to make sense to everyone. I am sorry, it's just, it ain't going to always happen that way. But what I am necessarily completely trying my best to say here is, what we want is not guaranteed to happen, but it doesn't mean it can't happen. Let's be honest. A lot of us want this. It's difficult to properly get, if that makes sense. I'm going to end the stream here, but I'm pretty sure all of us want this. And let's be honest, we properly do. But as I said, it starts at the 10-minute mark. We all want this to happen. We just need it to properly happen. I know I'm not playing Battlefield while I'm saying this. I am sorry. It's just, we want this to happen. It just hasn't happened. If that doesn't make sense, I am sorry, but still. I'm going to end the stream here. Hope you have a good time, and I hope you